Namaskar, good evening. You're watching the Newshour agenda and I am Swati Joshi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah set the record straight in Lok Sabha today, saying that the last trace of Naxalism has been wiped out from the country and its final bastion, Bastar, is now on the path of development. The government's deadline for the eradication of Maoist violence ends tomorrow. And ahead of that, Amit Shah presented the government's report card on its Naxal Mukt mission. Let's first take you through the statistics. What do the statistics say? Now, in a major achievement, the number of districts most affected by Naxalism has come down to 0. And this milestone marks a significant turning point in the government's Naxal Mukt mission. Here are the figures, the data. 2024-2026, as far as the fight against Naxalism is concerned, 706 have been killed, 2,218 arrested and 4,839 surrendered. This is the report card that was presented by the Home Minister. Let's also talk about the districts that were the most impacted or the most affected because of Naxalism, starting from the year 2014 till date. 2014, there were 126 districts that were most affected because of Naxalism. Let's take a look at the changing dynamics, how the situation kept changing. Jan 2025, 11, December, it was 3, and in 2026, 0. 0 districts that are most affected. That's how the anti-Maoist operations were carried out on ground. And this is the report card that was presented. But the biggest takeaway from Amit Shah's speech was when he said that the root cause of Naxalism is not poverty or underdevelopment, but leftist ideology. An ideology that Indira Gandhi embraced back in the 1970s, due to which Naxalism spread across the country, it spread across states. He also added that Congress kept tribal areas devoid of development for 60 years. Apart from Congress, Shah also targeted what he calls the urban Naxals, saying that those who support Naxalism are as guilty as those who held the gun. Amit Shah also referred to the incident when Hidma was killed, saying Rahul Gandhi tweeted a video showing people sloganeering, "Jitne Hidma maroge, har ghar se Hidma niklega." Isn't it?
गरीबी के कारण नक्सलवाद नहीं फैला, बल्कि नक्सलवाद के कारण इस पूरे क्षेत्र में सालों तक गरीबी रही। कि नक्सलवाद का मूल कारण विकास की डिमांड नहीं है, एक आइडियोलॉजी, जिस आइडियोलॉजी को अपने राष्ट्रपति पद का चुनाव जीतने के लिए 1970 से इंदिरा जी ने स्वीकार कर लिया। ये वामपंथी विचारधारा के कारण नक्सलवाद फैला। हिडमा जब मारा गया, मान्यवर 172 जवानों को मारने वाला हिडमा जब मारा गया, इंडिया गेट पर नारे लगे, कितने हिडमा मारोगे, हर घर से निकल लेंगे हिडमा। ये वीडियो को राहुल गांधी ने स्वयं ट्वीट किया है।
On the other hand, several opposition leaders launched a counter-attack on the Home Minister, condemning the politicization of Naxalism. Leading the charge, Congress claimed that several of their own party members were killed when the BJP was in power.
ये नक्सलवाद शुरू कैसे हुआ? अगर आप देखिएगा तो जल जमीन को लेकर के, जल जमीन जंगल को लेकर के हमेशा, और इसमें छत्तीसगढ़ में, उड़ीसा में, झारखंड में आदिवासियों ने लड़ाई लड़ा। इसके ऊपर में विस्तार रूप से पहले कारण समझना चाहिए कि नक्सलवाद शुरू कैसे हुआ और इसको कैसे खत्म किया जाए।
If something is returning to normal, if you have done away with LWE, then why are your troops still there? Why is the area so still heavily militarized? And what is accountability most important for fake encounters and extrajudicial killings?
हमारे लोग शहीद हुए, नक्सलिज्म का शिकार हमारे लोग हुए, इनका तो कोई आदमी नहीं हुआ ना। सलवा जुलूम चलाया किसने? कांग्रेस के लोगों ने चलाया। शहादत किन की हुई? कांग्रेस के लोगों की हुई, आपकी सरकार के रहते हुई, और आप बात कर रहे हो हम पर।
You're watching the News Hour at 10.
Let's open this up. Let's go across to our guests. We're joined by Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. We have Tushar Gupta, political analyst, joining us on the broadcast. Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst. And we also have S. Balan, lawyer and a left supporter. We're expecting Mr. Royden Roach, political analyst, to join us as well on the broadcast. Good evening to all of you. I want to begin with you, Tehseen Poonawalla, the Home Minister today, while presenting the report card talking about the Naxal Mukt mission, also hit out at the Congress party. He said that only justification happened during the Congress regime, no action. Today, now that we are on the verge of a Naxal Mukt Bharat, the Congress party is once again trying to compare the Naxals to martyrs.
Good evening, Swati. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Let's go step by step. Let me begin by congratulating the Union government and the Union Home Minister. We are on the verge of a Naxal Mukt Bharat, and it is a great achievement. I mean, as Manmohan Singh, India's wisest Prime Minister in the last 25 years, had said, that Naxalism is a bigger threat to India than any other external enemy. So that's a great thing. Now let's go step by step. They spoke about Chhattisgarh, the Congress martyrs in Chhattisgarh, the Congress top leadership. Between 2011 to 2013, several attacks took place in Chhattisgarh. Guess who was the chief minister? BJP Raman Singh Ji. In fact, I am quoting from Times Now, and I remember that evening being on Times Now, Mrs. Gandhi and the Prime Minister had flown down to Chhattisgarh, Raipur, and Raman Singh Ji had offered to resign for his failure. The BJP continues to feel, be it terrorism or Naxalism, we'll come to that. Now, yes, while Naxalism is ending, left-wing extremism is on the rise in India. But let's stick to Naxalism, then I'll come to left-wing extremism. On Times Now, I remember joining you and your colleagues when there was a threat against the Prime Minister by Naxals. And their threat was to assassinate our Prime Minister. And all of us were outraged about it. This was the Pune police, NIA took over. Times Now quoting. NIA withdrew the charges of assassination of Prime Minister, said this did not happen. These are Naxals. They kept calling them Naxals. What happened? This is the famous Chandrachud judgment dissent is the safety valve of democracy. I'm talking about that day. Come today, left-wing extremism, be it Manipur, be it Nagaland, being everywhere else is on the rise. Again, quoting Times Now. 2017, Prime Minister told Navika in the interview after that the Nagaland Accord, the Naga Accord, which is left-wing extremism, will be made public in 3 months. Where is that accord? Nothing's come forward. So all in all, they have failed. Now they're talking about JNU. One guy, Akshay, who's part of the anatomy, Tushar will laugh about. I don't want to talk about his part of his anatomy. That became very viral in that video. Akshay and jokers like Akshay, if the Home Minister of India is going to talk about clowns like these, then I think we have a serious problem. Okay. What Akshay and there's people doing wearing French t-shirt, imported t-shirts, talking about left-wing, a bunch of idiots. Please, JNU is a central university, take action against them. But let's not trivialize this. There was a threat against our Prime Minister, and a charge sheet is withdrawn. None of them have been proved. What is going on?
Okay, so if we have to go step by step, you did speak about what the former Prime Minister said, that Naxalism is the biggest threat as far as internal security is concerned. But then you don't mention Mr. Chidambaram, who in 2010 said that, you know, I did not say lay down arms because I know they will not lay down arms. But if you abjure violence, we are willing to talk to you. You did not mention Mr. P. Chidambaram saying that I know that your ideology is armed struggle, and that's the reason why we don't ask them to lay down their weapons, lay down their arms. And this is in 2010. You're right that, you know, in 2013, it was a BJP government in the state, but you don't mention the government in center. You don't talk about what Chidambaram kept saying about a discussion or dialogue. This government says, Goli ka jawab goli hai. If you lay down arms, if you surrender, we'll talk to you. But that was never the approach. And the Home Minister today says that's the very reason why Naxalism spread to several states, ultimately in the entire country. Tehseen Poonawalla.
In my state of Maharashtra, where there was Naxalism, Gadchiroli is ended now, but other areas. In Andhra Pradesh, where Naxalism ended, a lot of those Naxals ended by coming into the mainstream of our democracy. In fact, both national parties, Congress and BJP, have repeatedly negotiated. In fact, the Tripura Liberation Front wanted a union outside the Union of India. They came in government in Tripura with BJP. And I'm not blaming BJP. That's been our approach. Chidambaram wanted to airbomb them. He wanted the Air Force on them, which I think at some point is, you can't be bombing your own territory. So, I mean, he even said that nobody's quoting. There's that famous fight between Chidambaram ji and Digvijay Singh ji. So listen, every approach will have several people, several stakeholders seeing what's the best approach for the country. But I'm again saying the seriousness of the discussion. And the Home Minister talking about Akshay saying that, oh, I am wearing a
Okay,
French t-shirt.
you're just picking one incident. You're just picking one incident. In 2010, Mr. Chidambaram said, give me 3 years. Give me 3 years and we will overcome this problem. And then in 2013, the entire leadership of the Congress in the state was wiped out. If we are talking about putting in efforts, we know what transpired and what kind of efforts were put in. Let Sanju Verma come in. Sanju Verma, Tehseen Poonawalla keeps going back to that one video that the Home Minister spoke about. He's saying, that's a non-serious approach. Please go ahead and respond.
First and foremost, what an outstandingly brilliant speech by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. Kudos to him. He promised Naxalism/Maoist insurgency will be eliminated by the 31st of March 2026, and lo and behold, he has lived up to his promise. It was not empty promise, which the Congress has been prone to giving for more than 60 years. I'll very quickly rattle down some statistics for the benefit of your viewers. This is just numbers in the last 2 years. Number of Maoists killed, 1,106. Numbers arrested, 7,311. Those surrendered, 5,571. In Chhattisgarh alone, 477 Naxalites/Maoists eliminated. And Swati, most importantly, Naxal-controlled areas have reduced in the last 2 years alone from 18,000 kilometers to less than 2,200 kilometers. Police stations covering Naxal areas or reporting Maoist incidents have come down from 337 to less than 54. And most importantly, LWE, left-wing extremism affected areas, are down from 226 to less than 6 districts. The numbers tell their own story. I think it has been a mix of various things, Swati. First, encourage Naxalites to lay down arms. B, if they choose not to, neutralize them. Do not test the might of the Indian state has been a clear message with no ifs or buts whatsoever. And most importantly, those that decided to lay down arms were rehabilitated. And just look at the sheer amount of infrastructure in Naxal affected areas of your, be it Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, schools, colleges, hospitals, dispensaries, highways. This is how you mainstream people who have been feeling abandoned. I'm not sitting here as a sympathizer, but I'm saying that those who decided to give up arms were duly rehabilitated by the center. But I want to just very quickly, without taking too much of your time, say that there was an Elgar Parishad event in December 2017, early January 2018. Gautam Navlakha, Sudha Bhardwaj, the now dead Father Stan Swami, Varavara Rao, Mahesh Raut, Anand Teltumbade, Vernon Gonzalez, Shoma Sen. These were all accused of hatching a conspiracy to assassinate Prime Minister Modi. And I remember being on a zillion debates with the Darbari ecosystem where they actually mocked at the Elgar Parishad event saying, Gautam Navlakha is a great journalist. Sudha Bhardwaj is a lawyer. Shoma Sen teaches English literature at a reputed university. This is how they try to rationalize and normalize Naxalism. But Amit Shah ने आज साफ शब्दों में, स्पष्ट शब्दों में, कड़े शब्दों में, बिना किसी गुंजाइश के कहा है, if you are willing to toe the line, we will rehabilitate you. If you test the might of the Indian state,
that was the biggest message. The biggest message, Mr. S. Balan, while hitting out at the previous regime, he said from 1970 till 2014, the entire ecosystem, the Naxals on ground and the urban Naxals who supported them, they created an ecosystem that provided patronage.
See, the very word Naxalism, urban Naxalism, these are all fiction, not a fact. There is nothing like Naxalism. See, 5th and 6th schedule of the Constitution provided under Article 244, Sub-Article 1. See, tribal rights, peso rights. See, now every area of tribals are just handed over to the corporates. They enter into a memorandum of understanding, go there, fell trees. So far, 14 lakh trees have been felled. Moment you fell the tree, bird dies, animal dies. then tribals' livelihood is taken away. Adivasis, Dalits' livelihood is taken away.
There is nothing called Naxalism. Who was Hidma?
10%. Please listen to me. 10%. The total population is 14 crores. You just eliminate them. You kill tribes and say they are
all those
Naxalites.
who've been killed were only
You kill
tribals.
the innocents.
They were tribals.
You say they are Naxalites.
Who was Hidma?
No, please.
Who was
listen
Hidma?
to me. Please listen to me. All UAPA cases are fake.
Okay, all of them.
Is fake.
You know, when you say that, when you say that, you're insulting all those innocent individuals. You're insulting all those brave martyrs of our forces, including the entire leadership of Congress that was wiped out, that was killed by the Naxals. You're insulting all those people when you say that the UAPA charges are fake, when you say that tribals are being killed in the name of these operations. Who was Hidma? Who was Hidma?
Extremism in any
Mr.
form
Balan,
is
who was
condemnable.
Hidma?
You can't send forces to blast forest. You can't
Mr. Balan, who was Hidma?
The environment.
Who was Hidma?
Okay,
Okay, you don't want to answer that question, just say I don't want to answer.
72%
Just say I don't want to take a stand. Who was Hidma?
What?
Who was Hidma?
No, Hidma was because, see, ours is a constitutional state. Ours is not a fascist state.
Who
we
was
are not
Hidma?
advocating a genocide.
I'm asking you a very
This is
simple question. Who was
democratic
Hidma?
country. What is provided under the constitution?
No, sir, I am not asking you to explain to me.
Or anybody else.
Don't.
Forces
One
have
second.
no
I am not
authority.
asking you to explain to me the constitutional provisions. I am not even asking you for definitions. I am not asking you for definitions. I'm asking you a very simple question. Who was Hidma?
And the Home Minister says,
Who was Hidma?
For an tooth. That is not constitutional.
It's very clear. You don't want to take a position? You don't want to take a position?
democracy.
Please describe Hidma. If you're so interested in giving me definitions, describe Hidma.
Hidma, see, to my knowledge, Hidma was picked up in Vijayawada and he was shot dead.
Okay.
If Hidma is a criminal, bring it before law. Punish it.
If
Only the
Tushar
court has
Gupta,
authority to
Tushar
punish.
Gupta,
You can't just
if Hidma is a criminal.
See, now
Look at the choice of words. Look at the choice of one. There is no Naxalism. Two, you're cutting trees, you're killing tribals, you're killing animals, and Hidma, to Mr. Balan's knowledge, if was a criminal. Look at the choice of words.
Good evening, Swati. You know the difference between the Congress and the BJP? The BJP mainstreamed those who wanted to surrender their arms. The Congress was mainstreaming those who were picking up arms. There was an entire economy that was built around the intellectualization of Naxals. They were writing books defining the Naxal movement as some kind of resistance against the state. And this went on for 6 decades, Swati. This wasn't a 5-year or a 10-year problem. Like the conflict economy in Kashmir, you had the red economy that was fueling all this nonsense on the ground. The supporters of Naxals today say we are a constitutional state. How do you deal with the constitutional law with people who fit mines on the ground to take out soldiers, to eliminate soldiers? How do you discuss constitution with cowards who hide in the jungles and ensure that villages for generations and generations are not developed? The BJP did the absolute right thing. You either surrender or you die by the bullet. You want to live by the bullet, you die by the bullet. And that is what the people also wanted. Swati, there is an opportunity cost attached to it that Amit Shah spoke about today. Think about those people who for 6 decades, a lifetime, have not seen a bank account, have not seen toilets, have not seen their villages develop, have not seen their districts develop. Why? Because somewhere in some posh land, there were people sitting writing books about this glorified resistance, resistance of cowards who were taking women and children as shield. And I am proud of my Home Minister today, who has taken out all these cowards and criminals and terrorists and Naxalwadis, and the ones who want to surrender their arms. They have all the right to be mainstream, but the ones who do not want to live by the bullet, die by the bullet. It's that simple.
Royden Roach is also with us on the broadcast. Royden Roach, now, the Home Minister also cleared another myth. He said poverty or lack of development is not the root cause of Naxalism. Naxalism is the reason why there is lack of development in these areas and there's poverty. Now he spoke about patronage. There's one more example. In 2008 in Rajya Sabha, then Home Minister Shivraj Patil said Naxalite problem should not be exaggerated. And this is what he said. This data was cited by him when he said the situation is grim. But exaggeration should not be done. I admit that 32,000 people in India have been killed, but we should not create fear psychosis in the country. So he's admitting that people are being killed left, right and center in thousands, but goes on to say in the House that we should not create fear psychosis. And the Congress the UPA kept on offering dialogue when the Naxals, the Maoists very clearly said, we will not lay down our weapons.
Well, good evening, everyone. Swati, first of all, I would like to ask people on the panel who are talking so much, even talking about the Home Minister, how much does Mr. Amit Shah know about Naxalism? How much do they understand what is Naxalism all about? We have seen instances, we have grown up in areas where we have seen the ground reality of Naxalism. We have seen the best of people, doctors, engineers and all who were a part of it. But what was the reason for them to be a part of it? And why did they continue of it? That has to be looked at. You look at the reality. We are talking about development not there. Who said development is not there? Every place. Instead of that, let it be the Congress, let it be the BJP. There are certain places they didn't want to enter, yeah, and only for whatever reasons now they have entered in, and now they are saying about getting rid of Naxalism. What did BJP do when they were there previously also? In the previous years, what did they do? They are already there for more than 10 years. And what did they do?
Okay,
and
so
now
you're talking about 10 years, but the Home Minister is asking you for a Hisab Kitab of 60 years. If you're saying, like Mr. S. Balan, that there is no Naxalism, that tribals are being killed, if there was no problem, why did the former Prime Minister, Mr. Manmohan Singh, late Manmohan Singh, say that Naxalism is the biggest threat when it comes to internal security? Tushar Gupta says, all these arguments are nothing but intellectualization, glorification of Naxalism.
It's not at all.
Why didn't you bring development to these areas if Naxalism was not a challenge, if it was not a threat?
It's not at all glorification. It's not at all glorification. Let me tell you one thing. When people were in distress, people were even being killed by certain forces using the word of Naxalism and the personal agenda by certain forces, certain individual people. I'm not talking about all the forces. Individual people, just to get themselves the benefit of things, I've used the word of Naxalism and started killing people. So that was the main thing we have to look at.
That's the whole problem. And that's the whole problem. When you don't see enemy as enemy, but try intellectualizing the enemy, start giving definitions of enemies and glorify enemies and say, why did they become an Naxal? Or why did they become a terrorist? That's when you dilute the entire resolve of fighting against them. Sanju Verma, do come in, then Tehseen Poonawalla. Sanju Verma, come in, then Tehseen Poonawalla, in that order.
स्वाति, अफजल हम शर्मिंदा हैं, तेरे कातिल जिंदा हैं, भारत तेरे टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह, जितने हिडमा मारोगे हम उतने हिडमा घर से निकालेंगे. Burhan Wani was a poor headmaster's son. Osama bin Laden ji, Yaqub Memon, when he was given capital punishment, knocking on the doors of the Supreme Court at 2 a.m. in the morning saying, why is he going to be hanged? The reason I've given these examples is to tell you that the other side, and when I say the other side, I mean the Congress, the left liberal ecosystem, the Darbari cabal, has always tried to normalize Naxalites, Maoist insurgents, and urban Naxals. But Amit Shah today very categorically said, if you heard his, stellar speech, be it Operation Octopus, be it Operation Chakrabandha, be it Operation Double Bull, or for that matter, the highly successful Operation Black Forest. At the heart of every operation was just one thing. The Modi government is not looking to brazenly neutralize. The Modi government always gave an opportunity to Maoist insurgents, lay down your arms. It's only after they decided to test the might of the Indian state that the Modi government chose the last resort. The last resort was neutralizing them. But I will just end in 10 seconds, please, Swati. No discussion on making India Naxal free can be complete without Operation Samadhan, which has been at the core of Narendra Modi and Amit Shah's decision to wipe out Naxal terror. Samadhan. S stands for smart leadership, A for aggressive strategy, M for motivation and training, again A for actionable intelligence, D for dashboard-based KPIs, And then, of course, there is actionable intelligence, there is harnessing of technology and action plan for each theatre and no access to financing. You will be surprised to know that the NIA under Amit Shah did a stellar job in ensuring that financing to Naxals was completely eliminated, bringing them down to their knees.
So not
and
just ground
ensuring
operations,
that
but you're saying funding was also all right. Let me bring in Tehseen Poonawalla. If Naxalism, there's nothing called as Naxalism as per one of the panelists and the other one saying it's conveniently used, then my simple question is, who killed 75 CRPF personnel in 2011? Who killed the Congress leadership?
Correct. I'll answer that, and then I have to say something very important. Let me be extremely clear. Extremely clear. Let there be no misunderstanding. So I'm going to say this slowly, Mr. Roche and Mr. Balan. If you pick up weapons against my nation, if you think you have the guts to shoot my armed forces, we will hunt you like rats and we will send you to the slaughterhouses. No if, no but. This is the greatest country in the world. You can talk to us. You can talk to us, whichever government is there, and we are ready to negotiate within the constitution. You talk outside the constitution, you take arms, we will slaughter you. Now, coming to what the Congress did, there is a lot that the BJP spokesperson said. The current Congress women and Panchayat Raj minister, Dhanasari Anasuya Sitakala from Telangana, was a former Naxal. This is what the Congress did. It's mainstream people make their ministers today who gave up her arms. She was a CPIML, by the way. Gave up her arms, rehabilitated her. Today she's a minister for women and child development. But this is what a BJP spokesperson said. In her previous conversation, she said, look, these were the Naxals who wanted to assassinate a prime minister. And yet, NIA withdrew the charge sheet against them and said, no, this was a false story. So either they were Naxals who wanted to assassinate the prime minister, I think they should be hung, or the NIA is working on somebody's ishara. Now you decide what it is, because the same example I gave, you gave, but NIA has withdrawn the charge sheet on murdering them. I'm not saying they are not in jail. On murdering and assassinating the prime minister. It's been withdrawn. So what is the truth? If they wanted to assassinate my prime minister, why did you withdraw the charge sheet?
Quick rebuttal, Sanju, quick rebuttal.
You know, this is what I say. Tehseen will speak half-truths, which is worse than speaking brazen lies. Anand Teltumbade and one or two others, charge sheets have been withdrawn. Be it Gautam Navlakha, Shoma Sen, Sudha Bhardwaj, Vernon Gonzalez, Mahesh Rao, Varavara Rao, Arun Ferreira. The charge sheet has not been withdrawn. Tehseen, stop lying on national television. And instead of calling out Naxalites, you're trying to point fingers at the NIA, which has been doing a stellar job in terms of blocking financing to Maoist insurgents. That is why they were brought down to their knees.
Tushar Gupta, I wanted to come in very quickly. You know, the whole difference is, and Tehseen said, while schooling Mr. Roach and Mr. Balan, that this is a country, if you pick up arms against it, then we will put you to jails and slaughterhouse and whatnot. And he said, talk to us. But this government decided that we'll only talk when you surrender. If you don't surrender, to goli ka jawab goli se hi milega.
They spoke for 60 years. The Congress spoke for 60 years with the Naxals. What happened? What results did we get? In 2010, we lost 70 odd of our Jawans to one single attack. So what did talking really yield? Absolutely nothing. Mr. Roach here says doctor and engineers are part of that movement. Osama bin Laden was a civil engineer. So what? Terrorists or Naxalites or whatever you want to define them as, their degree, their qualification doesn't matter. If they pick up arms against the state, they're as good as terrorists, and this is what was going on in India. It's that simple. And if they were doctors and engineers, indeed, why couldn't they care for the development of their villages, of the people who were suffering, of the people who never had the right medical access, of the people who never had a bank account, never had toilets? Please, let's not stop, let's stop.
Yes, so the opposition, after the Home Minister's speech in the Parliament, says that this issue is being politicized, that the government should not act in haste. But the Home Minister has made one thing absolutely clear. Goli ka jawab goli se diya jayega. In the Parliament, he says today we are on the verge of Naxal Mukt Bharat. Sanju Verma and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast. That's all the time I have for this debate.